Hello, welcome to Yellow Farmhouse Makes. I'm Julie and I am a British expat living in the northeastern part of the United States with my husband and our rescue dog, Jim. This podcast is about knitting, crafting, a little bit of sewing sometimes. I'm a fairly new sewist, but I'm hoping to change that. Some baking, and whatever else I decide to get up to. I'm a fairly creative person and I like to keep busy with my hands. So let's talk a little bit about what I am wearing today. This is a lento that was made with scrap yarn and it's randomly color blocked, and I knit this using Holstgarn Coast, which is a cotton blend, which is the greenish color down here on the sleeves. And the blue part is also Holstgarn, and it is in the color Mariner, held with some Surrey alpaca halo, and I'm not sure I can remember what that color was. Both of these scrap yarns are pretty old. I've lost the labels, so all I do remember is it's Holstgarn and Halo. It was a lot of fun to knit. I would like to knit myself another lento because it was a pretty straightforward and simple pattern to follow. So since I was last here, I do have miraculously a finished object. I finished a pair of socks. These are my Christmas socks for this year. I like to knit a pair of Christmas socks every year using the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas colorway. And this one is called Mulled Wine. It has a little bit of sparkle in it. And I used the pattern by Lirio Knits that's called Dahlia. The pattern starts with a 1x4 twisted rib at the top, and then it changes to a 4-row repeat that includes, if I hold it super close, this little knot pattern, which on either side is bordered by a purl stitch, and that continues all the way down the foot. It makes for a very squishy sock, and then the heel flap is just slip stitches. I knit these on a 2.75 needle as was called for in the pattern, so they're just a tad larger than I would normally knit, but they fit very well and they make a nice sort of slouchy sock to wear around the house and for Christmas morning. So these will go away until Christmas, when I will pretend to be surprised that a pair of socks is in my Christmas stocking. So that is my finished object for this episode. Let me grab a quick drink of tea. This super sweet Moomin mug was given to me for my birthday last year by my son. It's lovely. And I have some blood orange tea with a little bit of honey. So my works in progress are the bamboo wedding shawl by Pearl Soho. And I haven't done too much of this because it does, for me at least, it does take a little bit of brain power. It's a 12-row lace repeat, and I think I'm just about to start the 9th row. But I love this yarn. It's knitting for olive, cotton merino, and this is called soft mint. Oops, finding the, here we go. It's incredibly soft and it's very nice to work with. It is just a hair splitty, but not so that it makes the knitting unpleasant. So I just pick this up whenever I have a moment where I can focus, because in all honesty, I have unpicked a couple of rows a couple of times because I just was daydreaming and lost focus. And I got to the end, as you do, and then you obsessively count how many stitches, and I would be 1 or 2 stitches short, which infuriates me. So I think my plan going forward was, once I get that 12th row of the lace pattern knit, I'm just going to put in a lifeline just for my own peace of mind. And that way, if I make a mistake, I can just rip back to the lifeline instead of tinking back 1 stitch at a time. But that's the bamboo wedding shawl. I have plenty of time to knit it because my son's wedding isn't until September. That is that one. And then we are going to be doing a little bit of traveling over the Thanksgiving holidays. And so I wanted something to knit on the train that was fairly mindless. And so in this lovely bag by Cottontail Farm, it was a Christmas gift from my husband several years ago. It has this very nice leather strap, and this is Harris tweed, and then a wax canvas bottom. And this is by Cottontail Farm, and I believe they're in either Maryland or Virginia. I can't remember now, but there's the label. So in here, I have the beginnings of a scarf, and it's called The Simple Thing. And it really is truly the beginning. I did knit a lot more of this on a slightly bigger needle, but I didn't like the fabric that it was producing, so I ripped it out and I've started over. And I'm using a, looking at my notes, 3.5 millimeter needle. And this yarn, it doesn't actually say what weight it is. I got this a couple of years ago. It's undyed alpaca, and I'm pretty sure it's a sport weight somewhere in there because the yardage seems to suggest that. But it's incredibly soft, and I've marked the right side of my scarf with a little wooden sheep. The beginning of the pattern starts with a tab cast on, and then there's an I-cord running up each side. The pattern did call for a make one left increase on every 4th row, and when I was knitting that first attempt with a bigger needle, I just didn't like the way it was looking, so I've changed the make one into a knit front back, and I think I prefer that. It's slightly less holey than the make one. So this will be really great mindless train knitting. I only have to focus every 4th row when I have to increase a stitch. So I'm looking forward to getting that finished. It is fairly similar to a Sophie scarf, which I've never knit, but this was a free pattern and I thought I would give it a go. So there's the the beautiful undyed alpaca. It came from an alpaca named Aspen, who I did actually get to meet at Apple Hill Farm in North Carolina. So that is another work in progress. I didn't bring it up with me, but I have been working on my, I did bring it up with me. I have been working on my jelly roll blanket by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears. And I think the very last time I showed this, I might have had 3 strips, halfway down the 3rd strip, I think. So I finished, that's the back. I finished the 3rd strip. It's pretty wild. I mean, it truly is a scrap blanket for me, using all these little leftovers. And I've started the 4th strip. I'm not being too precious about which yarns I pull out of my bag of tiny nuggets, because this is just going to be a blanket that I use more than likely outside, just sitting on an Adirondack chair or out on the future screen porch. But it's living in this little bag that I made a while ago. It's just a drawstring, and I keep the top folded over, and then here are all my tiny nuggets. So this is fun just to add a few rows to in an evening while watching television. So those are all my works in progress. The other thing that I have been doing is repairing holes in things. So I ordered myself a Speedweve, which is living in this tin, and it is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's a 14-pin Speedweve, and you can change the direction of the pins by sliding these across the top. And I will insert some photos of some of the repairs that I did, but basically you attach this wooden disc behind the hole that you're trying to repair, and then use some thick rubber bands to hold it all together, and basically weave a repair patch. So I did another one yesterday. I repaired my husband's work jeans. And I've repaired a pair of socks that had a fairly large hole on the sole of the foot because I caught it on a nail. And those socks weren't knit that long ago, so it was irritating. And then I have a commercial pair of socks that I patched up yesterday. So you can see it does, let me just into focus, it does make a little woven patch. It takes a little while to set it up, mostly because I am still following a video tutorial every time I want to do it, just to make sure I'm doing it correctly. But once it's set up, it's really a lot of fun just to weave back and forth and patch up a hole. So if you don't have one of those and you are a sock knitter and you wear through your socks, or family members wear through your socks, I can highly recommend the Speedweve. I bought mine on Etsy and I will leave a link to that below. The other thing that I have purchased is some yarn for a new sweater. Knit Picks was having a sale and I had this yarn in my basket when it was, I think, $4.25 a ball. And then I never got round to hitting purchase and I left it for a couple of days, and then there was a really huge sale on this same yarn. So it went down to, I think, $2.75, something like that. But anyway, I've purchased 10 balls of this, and I think it cost me, before shipping, $20 and change, which is ridiculous. So this color is called Lost Lake Heather, and you can see it's tweedy yarn. It's a very pretty green, and it has these little lovely pops of blue and some black, as well as the more neutral tweedy parts. I'm planning on knitting a simple raglan jacket, and I purchased that pattern on the Knit Picks website when they were having a sale, so I got it for $1. It's going to be knit on 4.5mm needles, assuming that I get gauge. And it's something that I've never tried before, in that it's a zippered jacket. Now, it doesn't have to be zippered. You can make it so that it has those little metal clasps down the front. But I've always wanted to make a zippered sweater, so I figured this would be a good one to start with. It looks like a fairly straightforward, simple raglan construction. So I'm not too worried about that. And I am fairly confident when it comes to putting in zippers. So that part doesn't scare me too much. So I more than likely will cast that sweater on possibly sometime over the holidays. Just see how I feel about that. Or maybe wait until after Christmas, as I do have an Advent to open. And I would like to knit my little mini balls each day through Advent. At least that's the hope. So that's an upcoming project, a zippered raglan sweater. And hopefully I have put a photo of that while I was talking, so you got to see what it looked like. In terms of other crafting, I have been doing some crazy quilting just to make some fabric, and I can't show you what that is because what I'm making with it are some tiny Christmas gifts, and I don't want to spoil the surprise. So I'll share that probably after the holidays. And my other crafting plans will just be to make some Christmas decorations. I will be making my Christmas wreath. I have some tiny stars that I cut using a star die cut and leftover paint swatches when I was trying to decide what color to paint the back of my bookshelf. And I have in the past used metallic thread to stitch together stars, and they make a very pretty little garland that you can add to a wreath or just hang however you feel like hanging it. It's a pretty simple project, so I'll probably be doing some of that too. And the other thing that I'm thinking about doing, I'm fairly sure that I will, is to try my hand at a Vlogmas this year. I so enjoy watching everybody else's Vlogmases, and even though I'm not busy creating a ton of things, I will be doing a lot of baking and taking a few fun little side trips to see Christmas lights, going to get our Christmas tree. And I thought it might be fun to give that a go. Now, they won't be super long every day. They'll just be probably less than 10 minutes. There may be some longer ones if I'm having a big baking day. But I thought that might be something fun, and also because I have a yarn advent this year to open up. And the fun thing about my yarn advent is that I made it myself. I believe it was January 2nd. I sat and I pulled out all my yarn scraps and I wound colors into 10-gram minis, and they all complement each other as far as I remember, because I do not remember what I put in the box, which is kind of fun. So I will be opening my homemade advent during Vlogmas. So if that's something you're interested in, I hope you tune in and see what I get up to. And I hope that you enjoy the next few snippets that I have to share with you. And I will see you at the other end. I had purchased 2 bookshelves from IKEA, and for those of you who've purchased bookcases from them before, you'll know that the backing is usually shipped folded, so there's a seam down the side. We decided to purchase some plywood at the local home improvement store so that when we assemble the bookshelves there is no seam. And after looking at lots of paint samples, I have decided to paint the back of the plywood. So here I'm just putting down a primer, and then I will paint the color that I've chosen, which is Sherwin-Williams color called Violetta or Violetta, however you pronounce it, and give that a couple of weeks to dry, because I purchased some decals to go on the back as an added decoration, but those instructions say that if it's going on a newly painted surface, it needs to have dried for 2 to 3 weeks. So in the beginning of December, I'll be able to apply the decals and then assemble the bookshelves to go in the craft room, and then finally I can get my craft room totally organized, because right now it's just a hot mess. I did a small sewing project this week. We have a problem when we use glasses with ice for our drinks, that they leave a puddle on our coasters, and sometimes they'll stick so that when you lift the glass up, the coaster comes with it and then crashes to the table. So I purchased a roll of cotton coasters, and I've just put a decorative stitch around them and cut them to size, and now we just put those over the top of our non-absorbent coasters to catch any dripping and puddles, and they work beautifully. I hope you enjoyed the in-between snippets. I've managed to finish my tea. I hope you had a nice, refreshing drink while you were watching the video. And so the next time I see you should be for day 1 of Vlogmas. So please consider tuning in, and feel free to make some comments in the comment box below about anything I'm knitting, ask questions, give suggestions, and be sure to follow me on Instagram, where I am also Yellow Farmhouse Makes, and on Ravelry I am Swims Upstream, so you can check out my projects there. And I hope you would consider hitting like and subscribe so we can continue to grow the community. And in the meantime, happy knitting, happy crafting, and enjoy the rest of your November. See you soon. Bye-bye.